Yes, so we are live here on the Woman Agenda channel on YouTube and also on podcasts where podcasts can be found, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the podcasts, Buzzsprout as well. So you can listen to us anywhere, wherever you are. If you're traveling, anywhere you're going, you can listen to us. So it's Raj here, as you know, also known as Rajesh, the host of the Woman Agenda channel. We have a special guest today, Christen Horne, who is a life coach. She's done so much stuff. It's been amazing when we look at her profile. And how are you today, Kristen?
I'm well. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you on board. We've been discussing getting you on board, and it's great to have you on board. Let's just we will obviously talk about your life coach and what you're doing, and we will talk about other things. But let's talk a bit about your singing. Um, if I'm not wrong, which I've read, you've been an opera singer. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yep. I've been studying opera for about 10 years now. I started when I was doing my um in America we have our undergrad, so our bachelor's degree, and then we move on to our master's. So I did my undergrad in 2008 to 2012, and I got my bachelor's in music, and that's when I started studying opera. And then a few years later I went and I did my master's in opera performance.
All right. Okay. Wow.
Mhm.
And then did you release? Is it available? Your opera, your music, is it available?
Yeah, so I never did any, like, I did some professional recordings, but recording opera is actually quite difficult, and requires a lot
Yeah.
of balancing and levels and mixing and stuff. And so one of the best ways to record opera is actually to just record it live. You just record it with, the singer singing with the piano, or with singing with the orchestra. And so I have some of those recordings. They're on my YouTube channel and they're totally available. You guys can go check them out if you want to.
So is that if you just type in your name, you obviously
Yep.
is your
Yep,
YouTube
just
channel
that
is
name
under
right
your name?
there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
under your name. Oh,
And
fantastic,
just
fantastic.
just for just for anybody who does go check it out, just like a little, not wait, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure. Just to let you know, I am still what people would consider a young opera singer. I'm 33. I'm about to turn 33, and, women aren't, like, considered, like, t done with their voices until they're about 35. So those
Right.
recordings are a little old. And so that's a young opera singer for sure. So if you go and listen to me and then you go listen to other opera singers, like maybe ones that are singing at the Met or at the Royal Opera House in London, they're going to sound probably very different. Um, just so you know. And I do encourage you to go listen to both and see if you can hear the differences.
So you've been doing it for 10 years, which is a long time.
Yeah.
Doing opera singing, that is a long time.
Yeah.
I would say I know a lot about opera singing. I would be lying if I said I do. I don't. I listen to a few people. I mean, I've listened to a little bit. I would say I've listened to a whole single or album,
Yeah.
but I mean, obviously, it's still like any genre of music. Opera is obviously, I would presume, it's very hard to master. It probably takes a lot of practice with your
Yes.
vocals
Yes.
and stuff.
I
So, do you have to do it? Yeah, sorry, go on.
Oh, I know, I was gonna say, I was just gonna offer that I tend to compare opera singing to, like, the Olympics that you see, the gymnastics, and it's, like, just those crazy things that they're able to do, and they practice, and they practice, and they practice, and they practice, and they practice for years to do that one little routine at the Olympics. I mean, they're doing other things before the Olympics, but obviously, but, it's very similar. The opera is, like, the pinnacle of what humans can do with their voices. So yes, it
Wow.
requires just all 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 sorts of practice. And like I said, I've been singing opera for 10 years, and I'm like I've got a decent handle on the technique. Some like it goes back and forth, right? Sometimes I'll be like, "Okay, I've got a good handle on the technique," and then it slips, and then something changes because, like, for women, right, our body is always changing. And since as an opera singer, your body is your instrument, I mean, just as a singer in general, but especially
Yeah.
as an opera singer, your body is your instrument, so whenever your body changes, your voice changes. You have to deal with being sick. You have to deal with hormones. You have to deal with all sorts of things. And so
Sure.
your like proficiency in executing the technique shifts based on like how you're feeling that day. Just like, oh,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Must be. Yeah, definitely. On this. So how much practice do you have to do then as opera singer? How much
Well,
practice?
at the peak of my practicing, I was practicing for an hour a day.
Right.
And that's singing. I was practicing the technique for an hour a day. And that on top of that, I was also, if I was learning a role for a performance, I would, either do my translations or transcribing, or just memorization. Maybe practicing the singing of the role, which believe it or not, in opera is not step one. It's like step 4 or 5. And then we also listen a lot, listening to the other opera singers, listening to their technique, just getting the sound in your ear is very, very important because it is such a strange sound. Like just compared to how other people sing across the world, you go and listen to
Yeah.
opera and you're like, what? What is this? So you have to
It
get
is.
used to it.
It is because if you listen to opera music at the beginning, then it sounds like, and you say you've been listening to either dance or R&B or
Hmm.
any other genre of music, it comes a bit alien to you. It's like,
Oh, yes.
what is this? What is this?
Yeah.
So it takes a while, I guess, to
Get used to the
grasp
sound.
and understand opera music, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's obviously there's no less talent in it involved. It's
Oh,
you need a lot of talent, practice,
lots of practice. Yeah.
training, and everything.
Yeah.
And on there, and obviously you've had, like you said, you must have had a lot of training, like you said,
Hmm.
in your opera music. Are you still doing it as a profession?
No, I'm taking a break right now. Oops, to hit the desk. Right now, in terms of opera singing, I'm taking a
Right.
break. The opera career in America is very challenging. I mean, it's kind of challenging everywhere. But the like opera track in America is like you basically only have time to do that because the technique is so difficult and because the number of opportunities is so small compared to like there's tons of opportunities, don't get me wrong, but compared to how many, I'm a soprano, compared to how many other sopranos there are out there, like
Yeah.
it's like there's like 1,000 of us competing for like 5 spots, and they might not even want my type of soprano. So it got very difficult. And then this is one of the things that I actually think would be super useful to for people to hear is I started to realize that I didn't actually want to be an opera singer, which was
Right.
difficult after spending 10 years doing all that practice and like going for that career super hard and just doing everything in my life was like I'm going to be an opera singer. And then I found out like, oh, I don't actually want to do this. And it's not because I don't love singing. I love singing and I love opera too, but that I don't want to just be an opera singer. So that technique,
Right.
the singing, it'll always be part of my life, but I'm way more than just an opera singer. Not that, hold on, sorry, that can come across wrong because if you're just an opera singer and that's what you're doing and that's what you're mastering, oh my gosh, props to you because it is freaking hard. Like
Yeah.
that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with just being an opera singer, but I always knew that that's not what I wanted. Like I started to do some coaching and I got a life coach and she helped me realize that I like my passion for performing started with film. When I was a little girl, I wanted to do film. I wanted to be, in movies. And so I was like,
Right.
"Wait, why am I only doing opera if like that deep desire 30 years later is to be in film?" So that's when I pivoted. So I still sing a little bit, not a lot of opera. Every now and then I'll bring some classical style into my singing. But right now I'm exploring how do I want to sing, and I got that advice from another coach, my
Right.
opera coach actually, my opera coach. She told me to take a break and kind of reevaluate because that's what she had done, and she's like a virtuosic pianist. She's amazing. She was like playing in uh professional symphonies when she was like 5, like seriously crazy genius. But she quit. She quit piano for a while and then
Yeah,
came back and discovered how does she want to play piano? Because one of the other kind of um, downsides of opera, and it's kind of a necessity, is you get all of this feedback because you need the feedback to grow and to evaluate and to figure out what you're doing wrong, what you want to do right. But then it puts all these voices in your head that aren't yours. And you're
right,
constantly thinking about what do other people think about my singing, about my repertoire, about anything, about my dress, about what I'm doing. Like it gets so in your head that you stop remember, like it's so hard to hear A, your own voice, and B, why are you doing this in the first place? Like it's tough.
right.
There's huge mental game. And so she took a break because she was experiencing the same thing even as a classically trained pianist. And so she recommended that I take a break. And so that's yeah, I did that. I did that right after my master's, actually. I had just gotten my master's in opera performance and I was like, I guess I'm going to take a break.
All right, okay. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no harm in taking a break, is there? I mean, in any profession, and sometimes you do need a bit of a refresh, a reset,
Mhm.
as they say, and then come back stronger, and more, motivation in that area, and in a profession where, which you've been doing it for such a long time and you've been enjoying
Yeah.
it, and you do need a break, don't you? I mean, some people take a break when they're studying. They take a year out, and then they
Mhm.
come back better because they've just been totally exhausted with all that studying,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for so many years they need to reset a bit.
And a lot of opera
Uh,
singers just got forced to take a break with the pandemic.
yeah.
They're like,
But
no opera singing, no opera
can
singing
you
during the pandemic. And we're like, what are we supposed to do?
how big is how big is the compared to the other genres of music like dance or R&B and rock and roll and all these, is there space for opera singers to earn a living, even if for the new opera singers who are coming on board, is there
Yes,
enough?
there is, but it's quite difficult, particularly in America. In Germany, it's better. Germany
Right,
actually has like funding set up
right.
through the state. They have full-time positions for singers, which is awesome. Which and a lot of Americans like go audition in Germany. I went and auditioned in Germany
Wow.
during my master's, and but in America, it's difficult. It's like freelancing basically is what it is for a while until you get enough on your resume or get representation or get into a young artist program that will give you the connections. And then, but all the while, like none of those connections mean anything if your technique isn't good because A, you won't sound good. B, you'll never make it through the opera. Like operas are like 3 hours long. You have to get through all of that singing.
Yeah.
So if your technique's not there, like you're in trouble. None of those connections are going to do anything for you if you can't actually do the thing.
Wow.
So you have to have
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of that. All
absolutely,
of it.
absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it's something which I'm sure a lot of people would be, would have to practice a lot.
Yes.
Whether you're whether you're a girl, you're a guy, when you're
Mhm.
going to opera music or any.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I think we're back on. Just had a
Oh,
slight,
there you are.
just a slight disruption there, guys. So it's just a slight disruption there, but it that does happen. I'm afraid with unfortunately with the Wi-Fi's
Yeah,
sometimes
no worries.
when you're going live, especially when you're streaming.
Yes.
Um,
Oh yeah.
it does happen. But obviously, I do wanna obviously get onto your life coaching because I don't want to miss talking about your life coaching because a lot of people need life coaching, and as I've spoken to a previous guest, but this is the first time I've had an opera singer on the Woman Agenda
Yeah.
podcast, first one, I am speaking to someone else who's opera singer as well, but you're the first one who's appeared on the Woman Agenda as
Ah,
opera
very
singer.
cool.
So yeah, I mean, but I did want to bring an opera singer in because I brought a few country music artists in, and other music artists. So and we want to bring music artists in,
Yeah, yeah.
female artists in, but obviously opera singer. I did want to bring an opera singers in as well. But yeah, so that is that is that is great. So let's just talk a little bit about going from an opera singer to turning into a life coach. So that's a massive transition. So how did that happen? How did you
So
want to be a life coach?
I was actually doing both at the same time. Kind of in the middle of my opera career, about 5 years in, I um it's kind of starts back like all the way back at the very beginning, and I'll make sure I summarize, but it starts all the way back where I had like just gotten married and just graduated from college, and I had gained a ton of weight. And so I found a coach and she helped me lose it. And then I was like, this is awesome. I want to help other people do this too. And which is very similar to how a lot of coaches' story starts. So I started as a health coach, and then I decided that I wanted to move into like all around life coaching because I loved the mindset piece. Um, really addressing like how you're thinking about things, how you're feeling about things, more than just doing the exercise and the eating.
Right.
Which is integral to health coaching, but I wanted to do holistic health, not just the weight loss. And so yeah, that's how it started. And so I was doing health coaching for a while, and then eventually shifted into life coaching while I was studying to be an opera singer. So that's like 30 hours a week or so being an opera singer with all the practicing and the rehearsals and learning the role, and then trying to get an entrepreneurial solopreneur venture off the ground as well, online. And so that is also a ton of work. And so I was trying to do both at the same time, which was extremely difficult.
Definitely.
So
Must have
yeah.
must have been. Wow.
So that's how I got started. I don't remember what your question was. Was that the question?
Yeah, yeah. No, no, absolutely. I mean, you've answered it perfectly well there. Absolutely, Christian, it was you perfectly answered it well. I mean, why you just on the woman agenda? Basically, a lot of podcasts there are questions what we ask here is it's not really an open and closed question. Uh, you
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
it could be it could be a one sentence answer. It could be like a massive answer. There's no restrictions whatsoever. Just a chat,
Yeah.
really more of a chat, really.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what we want to do. We just have a chat, and the artist tells their story their way, yeah, and that's what it's about. Uh, and how they because obviously we want to inspire more female artists and more writers who want to get into the profession
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get
And
inspired and
that was one of the things that I loved, is that it was a team of women, like just like gals of all different personalities and all different backgrounds, and all coming together to do this thing to like help people, which I thought was super cool. And so the first co- co- coaching group, that's what I'm trying to say. The first coaching group that I was in was it's like called Beachbody. It's a multi-level marketing gig, which, again, like because that team had created such a great sense of community, was a great experience for me. I know not everybody has had good experiences with MLMs, but I did. I thought that was great. And it's funny because like I still use those products today. I'm not actively health coaching anymore, but I still use those products because I still think they're awesome. But when I moved into life coaching, um, and kind of started to move a little bit away from the health coaching community, like I found myself kind of isolated, and that wasn't super fun until I found the life coach school. So that's the
right.
organization that I'm part of now. I'm not certified through them, But I do like, that's who I coach. That's who I coach with, as in they coach me. And that is hands down one of the best coaching organizations I have ever been a part of. And it's ridiculously inexpensive. So far as like top quality life coaching goes, it's amazing. The value there is insane. And she does health coaching too. She does it all, because she starts with the fundamental component, which this is so important for everybody to be aware of, is that your thoughts, that's where everything comes from. Everything starts with a thought. And so she teaches, it goes thought, feeling, action, result. Right. So I know that was a really quick recap, and she breaks it down much better. But your thoughts do matter. If you're trying a bunch of actions, if you're doing a bunch of stuff to try to do something that you don't actually believe in, or you don't think you're good enough, like all of those thoughts, those background
Yeah.
thoughts, that matters. Or, why would they want me? They don't want me. There's so many other singers to choose from, right? If you go back to the singing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she really hones in on, how everything begins with a thought, and that like how you feel about things also matters too, not just the action. Because in, the solopreneur world, the self-help hustle world, it can all be about the action. Like, just take all the action, take massive action, which is true. You do need to take action, but how you feel about that action and the feelings that are fueling that action, that matters. And that spoke to me so
Yeah.
deeply, because I had burned out several times working on building my life coaching business,
Yeah.
and just crashed and burned like hard. And I was overworking myself and kind of moving towards the like workaholic tendency that I had always known that I had, but I was pretty sure that I wouldn't fall into, and I fell into it anyway. And so now, after I think it's 3 or 4 years of being with the life coach school specifically, I feel like I'm finally finding my balance, where the work that I'm doing, I love it. It feels good. It's still very challenging, but it's work that feels sustainable, if that makes any sense. Instead of depleting, right? You work,
Absolutely.
work, 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 and you're exhausted after work, or after work
Exactly.
when you get home, and you don't have any energy even to like enjoy your pastimes. That used to be me.
Yeah.
And now with my work, and I think this has to do with a lot of the mindset work that I've been doing. Um, she calls it thought work. And then, but also yet another pivot. So I'm actually not life coaching anymore. This is kind of a recent change. I pivoted away from life coaching because I realized that I didn't actually
Right.
want to be a life coach either. I had bought into, remember how I started coaching with another team, and I like totally bought into their vision and how being a life coach is the best thing in the world. And it is. It's an amazing profession. And if you have any desire to pursue that, please do, because Desh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Desh, there it goes. It, so many people need life coaching. So many people need it. And if you have that calling to help people there, and that's really what you want to do, then please go do it. I found myself in the position, how everybody talks about imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
I was dealing with imposter syndrome, but I was actually an imposter. And that's a point that I think people don't talk about, is when you're in a career that you're not supposed to be in, but you're trying to use all of that thought work, all of that mindset work to manipulate yourself to stay in it, because you're
Right.
like, this is such a worthy career. This is going to help so many people. This is going to do so many good things for everybody, including me, like there's life coaches who make a lot of money, and not in like a bad way, but like because they're helping so many people. And I was like, this is
Yeah.
going to be awesome. And I'll be able to take care of my family and blah, 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 and fuel my opera career, and it'll be great. But it's like, but that's not what I want to do. Like, I kept
Right.
feeling all of this resistance, both against opera singing and against life coaching. And I'm like, why isn't this working? And it's because like this not the work that I was meant to do. And so I finally pivoted away from that. And now I'm focusing completely on my writing, and I'm also teaching voice. That's my musical component right now, but I'm focusing on writing and writing my books. And that work all of a sudden is just like totally opened up. It feels completely sustainable. I work not necessarily longer hours, but I still work pretty long hours to get everything done, but it feels amazing. Like I'm not nowhere near as depleted or exhausted as I used to be working the same hours.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, um, it's a massive. It is. I mean, it's hard to be one thing, but obviously going from an opera singer to a life coach, and then also, and not just stopping there, becoming a fantasy author.
Right. Yeah, and I never would have thought that I would have ended up being a writer because in school, like I hated writing because of all the rules and all of the shoulds and it didn't feel like it was actually being taught well. It was just like, these
Yeah.
are the rules and we're not going to tell you why. We're like, okay. And this, so, you know, how people say it's a cliche, everything happens for a reason. But
Yes.
one of the things that I've had to work through a lot is this like regret, right? Because I spent 10 years pursuing an opera career and doing all that training. And I'm like, what was that all for if I was just going to go be a writer? But looking back, I see everything in my journey that's now supporting my current endeavor. So during my opera masters, I took a writing class because most master students have to write a thesis. And so you have to take that writing class, just everybody. I was in a performance master's, so my thesis was a performance thesis essentially. And so, but I still had to take that writing class, and I found a teacher that um, felt the same way that I did about all the writing classes in high school and the AP classes and how all the rules felt arbitrary. And so she was able to communicate to me all of the whys. Like, oh, this is why you do this. This is why you do this. This is why you don't do this. And most of it comes down to clarity in writing. Because you read the writing in your own head with like how you would say it or how you would write it. But then you hand that off to the next person. You're not reading it for them, and they read it with a completely different context. Right.
Yeah.
So writing has to be very, very particular for that reason. And so then I was like, oh, well, that makes perfect sense. And then with coaching, with marketing for coaching, I was practicing writing all of the time, practicing writing in my personal voice, because when you're a coach, a lot of the attraction there is like people are attracted to you like as a person, not in a romantic way, but I mean like, hey, I like this person, I want them to help me, I think I feel safe with them, that kind of thing. um, and so I was practicing writing in my voice a lot, and then the pandemic hit and I wasn't getting to act, and I just started writing a book about a D&D character. And it
Yeah.
all came from there. It was amazing.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, there's no harm in trying something else, and if you get a passion in something like writing, and whether it's writing, whether it's any area, and you think, okay, let me try this, and yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah, it's
nothing
just
wrong with that.
why
Yeah.
not?
Why
Why
not?
not
Yeah,
try
definitely.
it? Especially if you've got that sense, that deep feeling of like unease or dissatisfaction. Because that's what I
Yeah,
had. Even doing like I fell so in love with the people that I was working to serve as a life coach, that group of people, and I still love them. I'm part of that. I'm part of them. They're basically like my larger like world family. That's how they feel to me anyway. And like after pursuing life coaching for 7 years, and then pivoting away from that almost felt like abandonment. So I had a lot of mental stuff to work through on that as well. Um, and just try new things. Like if you're working on convincing yourself that you love what you do. Because I think
exactly.
it's a trap that we
Yeah.
can fall into, but the people that really get into self-help and mindset work and thought work and stuff, we can really try to lie to ourselves, and we get much better at it because we have all those tools. It's like, just be careful. Just be careful. And that's why people recommend meditation, right? Just sit down, get quiet, listen to yourself. really listen, even if you don't want to hear the
Yeah.
answer. Because I did not want to
Th-
hear that answer, and
that,
I
that's
fought
some,
it.
that's something which I always say to my friends and stuff is either meditation, if you're getting stressed out, meditation or tai chi or
Oh
something
yeah.
like that, or yoga. Do one of these things, because it helps you a lot. I mean, tai chi helped me a lot during
Oh
the
yeah. I
pandemic
love Tai Chi.
COVID-19 situation,
Yeah.
when everything was closed down. Tai
Hmm.
Chi definitely helped me at that time.
Yeah. Tai
So
Chi's
you need
great.
something. You need something, I think, yeah,
Mhm.
definitely, which allows you to, uh, you know, get away from stuff for a few minutes, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, and
Yeah. Yeah. And
definitely,
for the people who maybe have trouble like, sitting there, first of all, it's a practice. So the more you practice it, the better you get. But like I love Tai Chi because it's a moving meditation.
exactly,
And
yeah,
and that helps me a lot. Yoga is very similar. It's a moving
yes,
meditation, depending on which style you're participating in. But one thing that I picked up years ago, before I ever, years, just years, I picked up this book called The Artist Way by Julia Cameron, and she recommends a practice called writing morning pages. And you just sit down and you write longhand, like physically, not typing, 3 pages of just stream of consciousness writing. And that can also be very meditative and very cathartic, and it helps you just get all of your thoughts. Like if I'm super frustrated about something, I'll go like scribble out some pages really quick. And there's no like self editing, no, don't worry about typos, spelling, nothing. You just write and write and write. And that has been one of the most useful. I picked it up as a mental health practice. And so I started practicing that. And that has been just amazing. And I think it's also served me now that I've pivoted into writing, writing a book, because like I basically don't struggle with writer's block like at all. Now I know my career as a writer is pretty young. We're going into the 3rd year, but I don't get stuck, which I'm super excited about. Like I'm thrilled about that.
yeah, definitely. It's exciting stuff, Kristen, what you've done, and I'm sure there's lots of girls out there who will get inspired by your story,
Yeah.
by
I hope
what
so.
you've done so
Man,
far.
you can
Definitely,
do anything.
and that's what we want to do on the woman agenda, and that's the reason why it was launched, to
Yeah.
promote and bring more people who will inspire more people who want to get into that profession. And life coaches, definitely, we're trying to bring more life coaches on board as well,
Yeah.
because life coaches is a big thing, and uh, it helps you a lot. Gives you
Yes.
that confidence. Uh, so it's a big thing which you're doing at the moment. So regarding your writing, you've how much stuff have you released regarding your writing? How many, is it one book
Yeah.
or
So what we're doing right now is because I'm actually co-authoring it with one of my best friends, and what we're doing right now is we're actually releasing our chapters for free. So
right?
it's like it's the first. It's not the first draft, but it's early draft, right? So it will
Right.
go through several edits, and then we intend to self-publish. But right now, we wanted to. We, my co-author and I, we're huge nerds. We play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. We play a lot of video games, and that community is very important to us. And our storytelling is also, it's so important for us to, I guess, get it right. And so what we decided to do is we love our story, but we're putting it out there for free because we want people's input. Be like, hey, what do you like? What do you not like? What ideas do you have? And so we kind of want to collaborate with the fans and create this world together. So that's why we decided to release their chapters for free. And those are available now on our website. And we're finished releasing book 1 in its current form. We already have so many notes for expanding book 1. Um, but it's there on the website and Wattpad and Patreon. And then we're releasing book 2 now. So if you like to just go read a bunch, there's plenty
Absolutely.
for you to read if you would like to. Go check that out.
And this is a live stream, but we will be putting the links from
Oh, right.
Christian's books. We will be putting on the video, so people who are watching this afterwards, they will be able to see the links in the description. It will be on there, and
Should
obviously,
I oh, for since it's a podcast, should I say the website? I totally forgot to say the website.
yeah, please, yeah, you can see the website. Obviously, um, people people will be able to listen to it on the audio version as well. The website
Yeah.
name.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
if you're interested, if you like fantasy, if you like Lord of the Rings, if you like Dungeons and Dragons, this is for you. We truly love our craft. We love all of the things that I just said, and we're super passionate about this. So if you love all of that stuff, we invite you to come join us and create this world with us. And we call it World of Urda. So world WORLD of OF Urda URDA. So Urda, URDA, worldofurda.com. And we're actually pretty much everywhere. If you can find us on TikTok, on YouTube. We stream our D&D sessions, which is, kind of how we're writing book 2 right now. Um, and yeah, our website, our Patreon, our Wattpad, it's all World of Urda. TikTok, Instagram, we're basically everywhere. So if you type in World of Urda, URDA, then you'll find us.
wow, that is absolutely great. And anybody who's watching it, like I said, you will be able to see the links in the description. We will put it on. So if you are watching this later on, or if you're looking at the clips, which we will put on as well on the channel, and obviously you will be able to see this video, which we will share with obviously yourself, Kristen.
Oh,
People will be able
yes.
to see the interview on your channel as well. So yeah, absolutely, and we want to continue, but obviously, we don't want to overdo this. But
Yeah,
it
no,
was
we
a
could
very very
probably talk for
interesting.
another hour.
Exactly. I remember I did that once with one of my the people who I was chatting with, and I kept going on and on. Then we realized it was more than an hour,
Oh
and it's
my
like,
gosh.
okay, it's gonna be
Yeah.
too much here. But yeah, it definitely. I mean, the people who come on board are very interesting, like yourself, and we want to keep on chatting definitely on there. But obviously, we will definitely later on. We will definitely bring you back on board on
Yeah,
the
I would
Women
love that.
Agenda, and definitely we will. So people can obviously see your material and your regarding your music. You're
Mhm.
available on Spotify and all these good
Just
places.
YouTube. Yeah. So I do some music stuff on my World of Orda profile because that's where I'm putting most of my creative energy. And so I've been, just kind of singing the songs that I love and playing piano and singing along. But if you want my like opera, go to Christen Horne on YouTube. It's just that ChristenHorne on YouTube, and you'll find my opera recordings there.
Absolutely. So don't forget to go on there, and and we will also obviously put the links in the description. Obviously, first of all, Christian, thank you very much for coming on board. And I know it's a Saturday, but thank you very much for coming on
Oh, my
board on
pleasure.
there.
Thank you so much
And
for having me and for
and
hosting this podcast. It's wonderful.
thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely. I mean, work or the profession where I work, that's great. But this is definitely something which I love to do,
Yeah.
and that's why I've been doing it for about. We've been doing this now for over a year, so it's been
Yeah.
going good. It's been
Yeah.
going good. It's been going good. And now it's available on Apple and Spotify and all these
That's great.
good podcast places as well. So you will be able to hear this on there in this interview. If you want to listen to the audio version, video version is on the YouTube channel and will be on Kristen's channel as well. So Kristen, thank you very much for
Mhm.
coming on here on the Woman Agenda channel there. Any last messages you want to say any to anyone who's going to be
Um,
watching this?
yeah, I guess just, I maybe going back to my singing roots is, like, find your voice. Whether you're singing or not, like, you. Find you. Like, try to sit and find without all the extra noise, and figure out who you are. And this is going to sound really cliche, but it really is true. Find who you are and what you really want to do in the way that you want to do it. And then just go do that. It doesn't matter what everybody else says, like, or how impossible other people tell you it is. Like, don't listen to that. That's their crap. That's their ish. You don't have to take that on, no matter how reasonable it sounds. And then just,
Yeah.
do your thing. Do your thing, especially if you're an artist. Artists have been making waves since artists have existed. So if you're not making waves, are you even an artist? No, I'm just kidding. If you're not making waves, it's fine. But like art, that's just what we do. We make waves. So
Absolutely, guys. And don't forget, please do subscribe onto the channel. Yeah, and if you're watching afterwards as well. And thank you very much, guys, for watching this. We will be back tomorrow with a special guest tomorrow on the Woman Agenda channel. So don't forget to check that out. And a very, very thank you there, Christen, on there. And people, are you available on? I didn't check on the social media. Are you available on social media?
yes, yeah. So World of Urda, remember it's URDA. That's all my social media across Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. And then there's the writer's social media called Wattpad, WATTPAD, Wattpad. And we're also on there, and our chapters are released on Wattpad as well. So we're basically on all the social medias as World of Urda.
Absolutely. Yeah, do check it out. And if you want to get in touch with Christen, she's available on there. So do get in touch with her on there. We will put the links on the description as well on the video version of this interview. Thank you very much for Christen coming on board there. It's been great to have you on there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Should I just leave?